Nothing like a little bit of house music to get me going in the morning. You know, there was a time in my life where I really did not care for house music. I thought it was music that you played in trendy restaurants or at the beginning of a night at a nightclub to kind of get people into the groove, you know. I guess I was being a bit of a snob back then and didn't appreciate it for what it is. You know, now the upbeat, uplifting sounds really kind of helped me get my morning going. And you know, maybe I was just being closed-minded. Yes, I was being closed-minded. And that's the way it is with art or cooking or whatever creative thing that you do. Oftentimes, you can box yourself into a situation where you're not allowing yourself to expand your possibilities or to allow yourself to grow. You know, and where am I getting with this? Good question. Where am I going with this rant? I think it started about 3 weeks ago. You know, I had a friend of mine. I didn't have a friend. He's still my friend. I don't see him very often. I don't see anybody very often these days. I'm a very private person, if you wouldn't believe that. But he's a really good guy, you know, and he had an opportunity to get on Guy Fieri's show. He's a local chef. He's doing very well for himself, and I'm very proud of him. But he turned him down, and he's like, nah, he's not really worth it for me. He can't afford me. You know, the typical things that artists say about their stuff. And I was like, why? How could you turn down such an opportunity? Say what you want about Guy. You know, if you're one of those Anthony Bourdain food snob types, you know, I'm sure you hate his guts. But man, if that guy speaks, millions of people listen. And if you are hopped onto that train, people are going to see what you're doing. And that's the lesson. It's the opportunity. Because if you had one chance, would you catch it? Or would you let it slip? So today we're going to do the character challenge, and in honor of my friend and artists everywhere, we're going to do a portrait of Guy Fieri. Now, as you guys know, I like to do more typical cartoony, and you know, often I have to, you know, really simplify things because these videos are a lot for beginners, but I think I'm going to get outside of my own comfort zone and do a portrait. And we're gonna do Guy Fieri today. I'm gonna do a portrait of Guy, but we're gonna add a little bit of edge to it. Kind of like in the way, how do I say this? Okay, so, you know, I love graffiti. I love it with all my heart. But sometimes it gets a little stale, a little constipated. You know, it gets backed up, if you will. And I am the Metamucil. Much like Marcel Duchamp, he made the toilet as art was something that you piss on. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do this with my graffiti a little bit. Not because I hate it, because I love it. So what I'm gonna do today is juxtapose Guy Fieri with another symbol of pop culture that I really love. The Pontiac Fiero. One of the best cars ever made. So it's gonna be Fiero versus Fieri. Lest the two shall ever meet, what will ever happen? So without further ado, let's get cracking. Yo, what's up guys? We're here at the spot right now. We're about to get started, so I got a nice little assortment of colors here. Some new can, some old can, some scrappy cans, a little mix of everything. Even the Walmart, that'll be for my sketch. But as you can see, I got some Molotov, I got some Flame, I got some gold, I got some Rusto, some OJ, some purple stuff. We're gonna get cracking right now. First, I wanna do my sketch. So I'm gonna take this lovely can of Color Place. Have you noticed they don't put Color Place in the name? They're that ashamed of it. So I'm gonna take this can of Walmart White and we're gonna use it to outline our sketch. Now I have a sketch, where's my sketch at? All right, dope, here's my mock-up. Now it's actually not a sketch, it's a still from an 80s anime series called City Hunter that shows a Pontiac Fiero getting shot at. Very dramatic. I think would go good with the theme that I'm doing. It's kind of a Guy Fieri meets 80s action movie. Kind of my style. So we're gonna go ahead and start sketching this in. Now take a look at this sketch. One thing I like to do when I'm sketching out something is to kind of compare it to the wall. Now this to me looks like 2 sheets of plywood wide, maybe a little bit wider, so I can make some adjustments to it. But I think it'll give me a good balance for me to start sketching it out. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. So why don't we take our sketching color and get cracking. Now what I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about is mapping out what you're doing. Now when you're doing this, it's good to kind of look at the surface that you're painting because sometimes you can get some subtle clues on the scaling of what you're working on. For this example, might not show up in the video, but there's a split right here where the two sheets of plywood, excuse me, OSB, line up together. And I can use that as a center point for this little sketch here. Now, this aspect ratio is just a little bit wider than two sheets of plywood. Just by looking at it, I can tell. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw the car a little bit further over. And that's what I was gonna mention too, is I like to start with the focal point first. Just because when you're working on a large scale, it's a little bit easier. So I'm gonna draw the car and the gun first, and then I'll start putting in on my ley lines in after that. And then we'll start filling it in with color. All right, looking at the sketch, it looks like the cylinder of the handgun is right around the center of the image. So if I can find where about my center is going to be and put the cylinder there, I can kind of map everything from that. Now there's a bunch of ways you can do this. This is just one idea. Yeah, about right there. Now start drawing the hand. Now don't worry if you don't get this perfect, guys. You're just doing the sketch. Remember, this is just the sketch. Although, mine's coming out perfect. Because I'm beautiful like that. Just having some fun, guys. All right, let's go ahead and get the sketch in here. Pontiac Fiero. When I was a kid, I thought these were the coolest cars, man. And you know what? They still kind of are. All right, dope, guys. We got the sketch, basic sketch in, so now we can start filling in with the colors. I got some Molotov in the light gray neutral. I'm gonna be using a Euro fat cap to fill it in. Don't forget to snap the cap off. Shake your cans well. Do a little test spray. I think we're ready to go. Look at that. Now that's what I call coverage. Dope. We got the street bed done, and it only took 1 can of light gray neutral to cover it. And I used some dark gray neutral just to add a little bit of texture to the street. Still got quite a bit left in here. Anyways, we got some aqua light right here. I'm gonna go ahead and start lacing in the sky. As you guys know, aqua light is one of my favorite colors. Let's go ahead and start testing it out. Looks good. Oh yeah. Now that's what I call coverage. All right, dope. The Aqualight went as beautiful as always. Still one of my favorite colors. Flame orange Aqualight. It just covers so well. The space I did equaled about half a sheet of plywood, and I got like about half a can of paint left, which is expected. Usually the flame oranges, the iron lacs, the Molotovs, you should be able to get about a full sheet of plywood coverage per color. Now that does vary per shade. It's not always consistent, and it's also dependent on your painting technique. But for me, generally, I can fill about a whole sheet of plywood per can. Food for thought. Anyways, we have this Lost Island. Lost Island in the Montana black. Oh, gorgeous. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, dope. That was some excellent coverage from that Lost Island. I rather like that color. I've always been a fan of olive greens though. Definitely in my spectrum. Anyways, we have some, what is this? Sasha. Yeah, Sasha in the iron lac, or lac. I've had a lot of good luck with these new lac cans. They are very high coverage, as you can see. And they don't stink like the old ones. Nice stuff. Oh, by the way, I'm using the Euro Pink Dot cap, the same cap I started with, just so you guys know. Let's go ahead and mask up and fill this in. I gotta tell you guys, now that I've been spending some time with the iron lac cans, in particular, using them with fat caps, I've come to really appreciate the valve. I really think it's optimized for fat cap use. But anyways, let's move on to the next step. Sasha covers nicely, as expected. I'll see you guys in a second. All right guys, so we went ahead and got our background in. We got our basic wall colors, the street color. Now it's time to start filling in the car. I got some Mad Sea Cherry Red right here. So we'll go ahead and start filling that in. This is a wonderful shade of red. very bright. And we're gonna be using the regular blue dot that comes on the can. Really nice cap, soft spray, even control. I like it rather much. Now, if you've noticed, what I'm doing is I'm doing a build-up. I'm working from back to front when I'm doing this project. And that'll be very helpful for a lot of you guys when you're starting out to do murals. Build from your background first, do the next nearest piece, then the next nearest piece, and then the most nearest piece at the end. So you're doing layers. You feel me? Doing layers. Put that in your head. Build back to front and do layers. Fundamental tip for doing murals. So why don't we move on to the next step? Start filling in that Mad Sea red. So let's go ahead and start lacing in this gray blue here. This will be the base color for the pistol. All right, let's start lacing in the hand color. The base coat for the hand, we're using Sahara Beige in the Molotov line. I gotta tell you, I rather like it. Also, I'm using the blue dot with this. Let me go ahead and mask up. All right, dope. Now we get to start doing our basic detail work on the background. Again, we're working from back to front here, so I'm gonna start working on the walls right now. And then eventually we'll start putting in further details, etc., etc. But one thing I wanted to mention is I'm using black, gray, dark. And the reason why I'm using it is because it's very dark, almost like black, but it's not. It's a very dark gray. And I think I like the look of that sometimes. Sometimes the black is a little bit too contrasty, a little too cartoony, if you will, even though this is a cartoon. But the black gray is a nice balance of darkness, contrast, but not too much of a hard line. So let's go ahead and get cracking with that. Don't forget to snap it, pull the cap off. You got a coloring, baby. Love those Molotovs. All right, we're about to lace in some satin aqua underneath the sky, just to kind of give it a little bit of contrast. But I ran into an issue. This can blocked up on me. Happens more often than I'd like. Now, if you run into that issue, try to clear it without a cap. Just get some rubber gloves and just try to actuate it like this and see if you can get the spray to go. See all that stuff coming out? There we go. Back in action. You know, I think Rusto would do very well for themselves if they came out with maybe just a limited color line, maybe 20 top colors with a female valve, a nice European valve that works with dot caps, and quicker dry time. They'd have quite a popular paint on their hands. Hint, hint. In the meantime, let's see if my unclogging worked. I'm going to be using the Precise cap. It's in here somewhere, one of my pockets, but it's nothing like the stock tip. As the name implies, it's very precise. All right, I should have done this after the fact, but it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, and that's how painting goes, so I'll probably have to redo that line. You see what I'm saying? I should have done this fade first and then put the dark line like that. But that's how painting is. Sometimes you want to do something else. And I had to figure out a way to fit it in here. So there we are. But that's okay. Like I always say, you got a built-in eraser in the can. Feel me? All right, let's get that in there. All right, let's take this Walmart paint. Start lacing in some happy clouds. It's actually really good for doing those kind of airy kind of cloud cover. The ones that don't really have any depth to them, you know what I'm saying? All right, dope. So let's go ahead and start lacing in this shrubbery. I got a can of leaf green. Make sure you shake well. Start spraying. Now this is going kind of dimensional, right? So make sure you kind of start out fat and make it smaller as it goes into the distance. Follow the flow. Feel the flow. Go with the flow. Let's do this. All right, I laced the trees in with the black gray neutral. Sorry, I wasn't filming there. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the trunks. This is a gray beige in the flame blue. Gray beige in the flame blue. All right, if you cut over too far, don't worry, just go back with the outline color. Sorry, this was kind of a weird angle for me to paint. See where I'm standing like this? If you're right-handed, imagine painting like this. It's not comfortable. But just go back over it. You got an eraser in the can. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start lacing in the tree color. I'm using turquoise dark in the flame blue. It's really more like a dark leaf green, would be my description of it, but it's an excellent shade. And remember, just kind of follow the line. Doesn't have to be perfect. Although it is a cartoon, it's depicting a natural thing, so happy accidents, my friend. All right, let's give this a little bit more depth. One thing you can do is kind of push the bushes over the tree like this. And then we'll outline that, which I'm gonna do anyways, because it has a little bit of an outline to it. You know, I could come back with the green too, since the blue dot does spray slightly thicker than like a gray dot or whatever, but you can come back with the green and just cut it back, which is good because it'll give it like a natural, as natural as a cartoon can be. It'll give it a more natural line. You know, just kind of wobble a little bit as you go to make it slightly uneven. Remember, happy accidents. All right, guys, we're doing a real fun part. What we're doing is making the car look like it's going fast. And this is cool because it doesn't have to be even or perfect. Just start out kind of close to the wall and fade out. It's a very active style of painting. You know what I'm saying? Because again, these are just speed lines. Makes it look faster. Again, I'm using the black gray neutral. So you can just go like this. Try to do something close to each other. But just fade out as you go. So go like that. Does that make sense? But don't do a lot, but don't do too much. I should probably quit while I'm ahead. All right, dope. Let's go ahead and start detailing the car. Most of the background elements are done. I am gonna do some graffiti on the walls, some Fiero versus graffiti. We'll figure that out in a second. But in the meantime, I'm gonna take some Molotov Tele Magenta. Guys, Tele Magenta is one of my favorite colors, but what I'm gonna do is kind of create like a pink fade, like almost like there's a pearl coat or something on the car. Very 80s. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Just dusting it on. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Just dust it. Trust it, then dust it. You feel me? Ooh. That goes well with the cherry red. Absolutely. You can make some stuff a little bit hard line, some stuff dusty. Just follow your flow. Don't worry about it. Do your thing. It's whatever you want. There's a couple different schools of thought here. Some people like to do the outline first when they're doing stuff like this, then fill it in and do the details like that. Other people like to fill it first and outline it next. This is one of those things where people will argue about it forever. I don't think there's any right way to do it. Just do it however you like. A lot of writers do it this way just because you're used to doing throw-ups over the years. People who don't train as writers first tend to do it the opposite way. I don't know. Do whatever you like. But anyways, I'm using a level 1 cap and I'm going to be using the black gray dark. I think it makes a great outline color. And as you can see, I already started outlining, but I didn't realize the mic was out. C'est la vie. All right, dope. Let's go ahead and start putting in the silhouette of the head of the driver here. Fairly simple, just kind of draw a half circle. And of course, he's in a seat, so draw the seat as well. Wow, that was hard. Of course I had my mic off when I was painting this. I always make that mistake. But anyways, so what I'm doing is I'm doing like an evil Guy Fieri. So we're gonna go ahead and lace in his hair and stuff. I'm working on it right now. It was a little bit too far to the left-hand side, so I had to make some adjustments. So right now I just have like the rough sketch in. It's not a perfect caricature. I don't do caricatures very often. So we'll be doing that in a future video. More caricatures for sure. But Evil Guy Fieri is coming along well. Let me go ahead and start scratching this in, and we'll go on to the next step. All right, dope. My Sinister Fieri is coming out quite well. Now, I got a buddy of mine helping me out in the back. He's gonna be lacing some graffiti on the walls. I wanted to have a little different perspective, so he's gonna help me put a little decorations in the background. So that should look pretty cool. In the meantime, let's go ahead and put some flames on the shirt. I know it's black and white and we're using color. It's art, you can do whatever you want. You gotta have the flames, baby. Holy shit, my cover. My cover almost fell down, but I think we're good. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and rock some flames, and oh boy, it's really starting to come down. Let me move out of the way here, hold on. All right, dope, we're gonna go ahead and start lacing in some flames, and this is melon yellow. Now generally, I've used the melon yellow in the Molotov line, and it's not a very thick color. And this one is actually, kind of seems thicker than the Molotov melon yellow. That's interesting. Like I said, it's not a constant amongst brands. Sometimes one brand has a thicker shade of one color. Sometimes another brand has a thicker shade of another color. And this kind of seems thicker than the Molotov melon yellow. It's still a little on the runny side for a yellow though, but not too bad. Yeah, much more even with the fat cap. This is a pink dot on it right now, and the coverage is much better. Oh yeah, much better. So rock a pink dot. I think you'll be happy. But like I said, melon yellows tend to be a little bit on the runny side, and I've noticed that with all the brands. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's take a look at it. Yeah, it just works. I don't know. Let's take a look at some of the details here. Guy was going nuts. There's the Fiero right there. Like the color, the hand, that went really nice. Look at the contrast on that too. Notice that? It's not black, it's like a nice gray. Looks really good for that style of cartooning. And there's Guy, of course. You know, I think the nose is a little bit crooked, but you know what? He's a sinister guy. Maybe he got in a few scraps. Hey, no one's perfect, right? Oh, that was a lot of fun. You know, I'm glad we had a chance to really do that and just kind of get me out of my comfort zone and see, you know, what I'm capable of, you know, because I don't normally paint those type of caricatures or representations of people. You know, let's face it, I love ignorant style graffiti. That's, for me, that's what I like to paint. Simple, 2 to 3 colors, hard lines, old school, mixed with a little bit of outsider art style to it. So for me to do this was definitely getting me out of my comfort zone. But I think we're gonna do a little bit more of this in the future, because it's a lot of fun to kind of stretch your legs, try out a bunch of different stuff, and see what we're all capable of. Oh, speaking of that, I had a bunch of people sending me their artwork. So why don't we go ahead and do a little slideshow showing everyone's work as I leave, and that way we can give everyone a little hype. Now keep in mind, I'm not putting anyone's names in this because I don't know whose accounts want to remain anonymous or not. So if your artwork is shown here and you want people to know it's you, just comment below with a timestamp and let everyone know what you're capable of. All right guys, this is artprimo.com. I gotta get going. I'm going to Vancouver, baby. That's right, Vancouver, Canada, where the beer flows like wine. See you guys later.